What's up, guys? Mom Vernon Kid here, back again. Welcome back to another comic review. I got a big pile for you guys. Um, this episode is gonna be a combination of 2 weeks of books. Um, the week of the 20th and the 27th. So the final 2 weeks of July, the books that came out in July. Um, I got a big pile, so I'm just gonna run through these as quickly as I can. I know some of these books have been out for a week or two. I'm still gonna try to review them as best I can, as not being um, spoiling anything. But like I said, I got two piles for you guys. So let's start off with the books that came out for uh, June 20th. Yeah, July 20th. Yeah, the 20th. Let me make sure real quick. Uh, yeah, came out July 20th. All right, so here we go. All right, here we go. All right, so we're gonna kick it off in Marvel first, and let's start it off with A Force #7. Thompson, Caswell, Hana. This still continues the story with the alternate Thor, Dazzler Thor. The team is dealing with still helping Dazzler, who also has the power of Thor, and dealing with her enemy. And a lot of crazy things go on in here, but there's a really touching moment between uh, Dazzler and her Asgardian counterpart. And she even goes on to explain that even though she has the power of Mjolnir, she still is sick from what's happening with the mutants now. But it's really touching. Um, it ends with the team pretty much staying together. They're like, yeah, we'll keep this going. I love the catchphrase that uh, uh, Singularity says. She even says "A Force Assemble," and She-Hulk says, "I think that's taken." You got to remember this takes place before Civil War. All right. Uh, Astonishing Ant-Man #10. Spencer does a good job with this. This is the combination of what leads up to, since the beginning of this run, what leads up to why not Hank, Scott is back in jail. We get to see it in this. Um, Scott brings his team in. They have a little falling out after a while, dealing with Darren Cross. Um, and there's a great combination of the the Langs fighting uh, fighting Darren Cross. Remember, Cassie has her powers back, but she goes in the name of Stinger. She got them from the power broker. And she realizes that what her dad was doing, why he's been so distant from her, and things like that. And she's kind of stubborn about it, but she realizes it. And you know, uh, unfortunately, we get the reason of why Scott ended back up in prison, and it's it's kind of unexpected, but then it's kind of unexpected, but you're surprised of how. It's the how he ended up, and who's semi involved with it. I won't ruin who it is, but it's somebody that is somewhat close to him, and it's not Cassie. But this was good. All right, let's move on to all new Wolverine #10. Taylor Guerrera, what white chick. This is I guess this is pretty much the tie-in to Civil War. This was good, nonetheless. Gabby is just so funny and so fun in this. Um, Probably my favorite part is the fact that uh, two burglars try to, you know, rob Laura and the gang. It was so funny. Uh, but there's more to it than that because Ulysses saw something that involved Old Man Logan and everything like that, and it goes from there. But it was good nonetheless. It was funny too, really funny. All right, guys. Finally caught up on this series. And it's Black Widow. This is issue number 5. Finally caught up on this. I was behind, so I couldn't really review it. But uh, things go really to shit in this big time because of what the Weeping Lion, that's the person that has all this info on Natasha and who's been holding something over Natasha, of course. Uh, and it's a lot of explosions, a lot of death, and a lot of unexpected twists and turns that Wade is really good at doing. Uh, and Somni's artwork is really good in this. Um, this was probably the first time actually seeing Natasha in comics really be as battered and bruised as she is in this. Unfortunately, something bad happens, and the secret that they're holding over Natasha may come out, and it's going to affect a lot of people, namely one being Tony Stark. This was good, though. All right, let's move on to Nighthawk number 3. Walker still does a good job with this. There's still Walker still Nighthawk still dealing with a little bit of police corruption, as well as still trying to figure out the edge of who's funding certain operations and things like that, which is fine. Uh, Nighthawk does not pull punches. This Nighthawk, remember, this is an alternate Nighthawk. He does not pull punches even for cops. He's like one of the people was like, "I'm a cop," and he's like, "Does it look like I care?" And he literally goes ape shit on some of these cops, and you can't really tell if they're crooked or not. It's just ugh. That's the best way I could describe it. It's just like ugh. But no, this was good nonetheless. Walker, David Walker continues to shine with this. This is still good. Spider-Man number 6. This ties into kind of Civil War a little bit, not too much, but the main gist is, um, you know, uh, Miles's Ebola. That's Spanish for grandmother. You know, uh, Pretty much hired a private eye to watch him, and she feels that he's on drugs, things like that, and that private eye being none other than the only Miss Jessica Jones Cage, you know Luke Cage's wife. And there's a big heart-to-heart talk between Miles' parents, and his father is telling Miles' mother, like, your mother crossed the line. If Miles finds out about us, he'll lose trust in us, things like that. A lot of things are going on, and this really focused more on drama, storytelling than action. You know, and Miles's mom comes to Jessica Jones and tells her, like, I want to call off the case, and Jessica lives up to this whole the whole principle. Uh, you're not my client. Your mother was my client. She's the only one that can tell me to stop. And it was really, really, really touching. But nonetheless, not bad. All right, let's move on to Spider-Man Deadpool number 7. Okay, this had me flipping out. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is supposed to be somewhat a lost story. It's drawn like 1960s Spider-Man, and we get to see 1960s version of Deadpool, which is bullshit because he didn't come out until 30 years later. Yeah, that's fun. That's stupid. But this was what it was. I know it was supposed to be taken as a joke, but yeah, it was just weird. I'm reading this. I'm like, what? Like, really? All right, let's move on to Squadron Supreme number 9. Robinson. You see Power Princess on cover. That cover is beautiful. But this was really good because it summed up more that the Power Princess that is a part of this squadron is maybe not who she says she is, or maybe she's somebody else, um, which is really scary at the time. But one of her biggest things is she wants to bring back Namor. Remember, guys, Namor was killed by the Squadron Supreme, and she's in cahoots with another person. I'm not going to ruin who that is, to maybe kind of resurrect him back to life. They go into detail about how a lot of heroes on this world, on the 616, have been brought back to life and things like that, have come back to life. So, and then we get more in-depth story into who this Power Princess is, and just a lot of good twists that James Robinson is really good at. I very much enjoyed this. This was good. All right, let's move on to Star Wars, number 21. Aaron's Molini's artwork was great. Basically, this was pretty much a story involving just stormtroopers. It's pretty much putting FaceTime on stormtroopers and showcasing that, hey, the stormtroopers could be badass too. And that's pretty much the gist of this. Nothing really too really big, but it just really was just, let's put some shine on the stormtroopers. Let's showcase that they're not just cannon fodder. They're just not punks. You can be a badass as a stormtrooper. That's the best way I can describe it. All right, we move on to Thunderbolts number 3. Thunderbolts versus the Inhumans. Yeah, here we go once again. Yeah, Inhumans being shoehorned into every book. That's something I am getting tired of. Um, Zub does the writing, and Melin does the artwork. Okay, basically, the mission was supposed to be to stop an early alien invasion. Uh, Bucky and the team do that, and they run into Crystal and some of the Inhumans. And Crystal and the other Inhumans believe that the cocoons were actually Inhumans, but we don't know. A fight breaks out between them. It was a pretty interesting fight. The means of how the team was able to defeat Crystal's team, um, and Bucky just saying like, look, they weren't Inhumans, they were alien, they would, and Crystal's like, yeah, whatever, and Bucky's like, yeah, you can believe us all you want, you don't have to believe us. Then there's more insurgent in Shield. Maria Hill talking about, talking to Captain America, like, you better do something about Bucky, and he's breaking out, and he's working with criminals and things like that. And a lot of dissension is happening in in Shield because a lot of the agents know that Maria Hill was behind a lot of stuff that happened in Pleasant Hill, and she realizes that the young girl that is with Bucky is the sentient cosmic cube known as Corbett. There's a really good touching scene with Corbett and Bucky, which was really good. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, all right. Ultimates number 9. Ewan Rockefeller still do a good job with this. This basically is kind of just going into the base of that the team is still trying to lead this, this whole proactive feel, but make sure it doesn't always go to a proactive vibe with violence. And they realize they help an alien traveler who was just trying to make contact. Well, that's pretty much all this is. But of course, being probably next one being definitely more into Civil War. All right, um, let's move on to the indie books that I got for the 20th. I got 10 indie books, guys, and we're gonna end the books that came up for the 20th with the DC stuff. So do this in alphabetical order by company, and we'll start with Archie Comics. And yeah, guys, I picked it up. I'm still behind on the Archie title that Wade is writing, but I was like, yeah. Uh, Betty and Veronica, number one. My mom was a huge Betty and Veronica fan. I believe my late mother, I think she was a Veronica fan. She was more of a Veronica fan. I'm more of a Betty fan. Uh, and first of all, it's written and drawn by Adam Hughes. Adam Hughes being one of my favorite artists in the industry. The cover is just beautiful. I love that cover, and the artwork is really good. Um, in this issue, this was just fun. Um, you get to see Archie, you get to see Jughead, and they're at Pop's diner and just chilling and having. Then Pops drops the line on him that he has to sell the diner. He has to, and Betty, really just she punches the hell out, knocks the fuck out of Jughead at one point. It's so funny, and a lot of shit is going on. Veronica's acting really shady. She's not really saying much until we find out why. Um, and I'm not gonna ruin that, but it's to the point we can see why these two are kind of at it and are gonna be at it in this issue, in this series. But I really enjoyed this. The artwork was beautiful. The storytelling, from both Adam Hughes. I mean, he does double duty. He does the writing and the artwork. So it was really fun at both sides. Well done, Mr. Hughes. Well done indeed. I definitely enjoyed this. Lords of the Jungle, featuring Sheena and Tarzan, issue number 5. Corlina and Costello's artwork is just great. Uh, it's just Sheena and Tarzan trying to stop a threat that could destroy both of their worlds. That's the basis of it. Uh, there's a fire. I'm not going too much, and yeah, that's pretty much it. The biggest gist of it. All right. Xena, number 4. Um, this continues to be just kind of all right. I just my problem is probably the biggest problem I have with this is the time setting. The timing of where they're taking this, where it's like around the sixth, yeah, about the sixth, the final season, fifth, sixth season, where it's in the future. So, but we did get to see Ares, and he's helping out them, the Harpies and everything like that. But yeah, it just nothing really is wowing me like, oh my god, it's just there, and it's really good just to just like Xena. I will say there's a big kiss scene in this. I will say that much. All right, let's move on to Image. That was Dynamite. Let's move on to Image, and we're going to Lazarus number 23. Greg Roca, Glevin Art. This shit continues to be great. I've been reading this since day one. Lazarus has been great, and it is really hard for me, who really grown to love the main character forever, and see her so, uh, I shouldn't say weak, but just so, she's helpless in a sense. She's really still trying to recover from her last incident. She's not really caring about her sister, in the meantime, there's another like a younger clone of her out there, and it's just all this stuff just going on, and you're just like, what the fuck? But it's this Greg Roker continues to shine, and Mr. Lark, this team has just really been shining with this series. Good shit. Nothing really to complain about. As always, a home run. Good stuff. And let's move on to Velvet number 15. This is another book I've been reading from the get-go. Ed Brubaker, Stephen Eben. I believe this was the final issue of this chapter of Velvet. They say, Mr. Brubaker says in the back that they're not done with Velvet, but this seems to be the end of it. She finally gets down to the realization of who framed the agent that she knew, everything like that. And when I saw who it is, I was like, yeah, I've seen this kind of storytelling before, um, but I didn't hate it. It was kind of interesting of how she found out, and she Velvet even kind of fakes her death at one point just to make sure she sets the trap to get the rat to come out and just get a little bit of that cheese. But this was good nonetheless. All right, let's move on to Udon, and we're first going to start off with Street Fighter Legends Camis: Jim Zub, Omar Dogan, Ken Suakan, Edwin Hong. First of all, that's a beautiful cover. This is basically like the many of the Street Fighter Legend series. They focus on one Street Fighter character, and this is focused on Miss Cammy White, who is back leading a new team and to protect England and the world, a special force team called Team Delta Blue. Right? Yeah, make sure I'm getting it right. Team Delta View, British Secret Service, and there are you got Cammy has a team that are made up of different people. Uh, you have uh, you have this guy right here. His name is George Ginzu. He's like the computer expert. You have Abel. I'm not sure if that's Abel, the same Abel, but he's the heavy weapons expert. You got Judy, who's the hand-to-hand combat expert. You got Junie, the covert expert, and of course Cammy White, who leads the team. Now, some of those names should sound very familiar, and it plays up in this too. Some of Cammy, some of her members, well, one of them starts to act really strange, and it starts maybe going back down the trip of Mary Lane for Cammy, and it gets really interesting from there. And then it gets more interesting when that ending where we see, I don't want to even spoil it. This was good, very good indeed. Street Fighter Legends Cammy, number 1. This is a mini series. But let's go on to the main series, which is Street Fighter Unlimited number 8. Uh, the Genzo covers are beautiful. I love these Genzo covers. Uh, Same guys, Ken Sui Chong and Edward Hung. Basically, this is we get to see a little bit of backstory between Urine and his brother Gil. Gil is having a tournament. We're seeing all kinds of people going at it from the Street Fighter universe. We got Ryu versus DJ, uh, Adin versus Rufus, um, things like that. And Rufus nearly gets killed, which is interesting. And then we got, of course, this big fight right here, Alex versus Hugo, which goes down in favor for Alex. It's really good. But there's more. Urine seems to be having his own agenda of why he's kind of forsaking his brother. Uh, Nonetheless, that was good. And then there's another story that involves Sagat and Dan. And Dan has finally tracked down Sagat. to avenge his father's death. And Sagat, he's a different person now. He's a new man, and he's trying to tell him like I can't dwell on that. Don't do this. And it kind of brings out, the more Dan keeps pushing it, the more it kind of brings out the old Sagat, where old Sagat would have ripped this guy's head off. And there's a really touch scene where Sagat even realizes that he did kill Dan's father. Dan's father is the one that gave him the eye patch, and you had to feel for Dan really in that part. But this was good nonetheless. But then there's also, I believe it's in this issue, or no, it's in the Cammy. Yeah, it's in the Cammy. Let me show you. In the Cammy Legends, we get a sneak preview of the Street Fighter versus Darkstalker 8-part miniseries coming, and we get to see Chun-Li versus Morgan in that. So that was pretty fun. All right, let's move on to Valiant. And Jody hosts, Perry Perez, Marjorie Savage, Colleen Duran. Faith number 1, the ongoing series. This is great. Nothing really to complain about it. Faith is just trying to juggle everything, her job, hanging with her friends, trying to be a superhero as well. She gets, I guess you could even say she gets her real true first villain, and it's in the disguise of something you just would not expect. Uh, just sweet stuff, man. This was just really good. All right. Let's move on to Lucifer. Number 8. Basically, the war is on for the throne of hell. That's pretty much it. And some realization of what really happened to God and things like that. But yeah, that's it. And Zenoscope being the last of the books, the indie books, and we move on to Robin Hood. I Love New York, Part 2 of 12. This was good. Basically, Robin takes a case and finds a missing boy who has been kidnapped in the borough above her, which is the Bronx. Remember, she's in Manhattan. Next borough up, going uptown, is the Bronx. She finds out how the boy was kidnapped. And it was lizard men that kidnapped the boy, and we still don't really get a clue of why. But that's pretty much the gist of it. But it was good nonetheless. It was fun. So far, this new creative team has done a good job with Robin Hood so far. All right, that's all. Let's move on to the DC and the books that came out for the 20th with the DC. Adventures of Supergirl, number 6. Pretty much, this feels like this was the last of this, and pretty much, it's the woman that's been watching her since she landed on Earth bring the fight to Kara. Kara's kind of uses her head in this to defeat her enemy, which was fun. It's good to see Supergirl use her head and not just bam, 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 bam. Just wham, wham, wham. And stand there with the horror pose. But it was good nonetheless. But it did feel like this was the end of the story. Aquaman number 3. Basically, this is Aquaman goes to Washington D.C. because the government has pretty much locked them out of their own embassy. Arthur goes there. He's talking to blah blah blah. The Secretary of State is basically saying that, yeah, you Atlanteans scare us. Everything you've done to us, and the past stuff, that Orem and things like that, flooding Gotham, flooding this, blah blah blah, and then some shit goes down that sets up Arthur, and then Arthur is pretty much locked up got the handcuffs locked on him, and it's just like, man. Not to mention more of what's going on with Black Manta and the people that broke him out of custody. Batgirl and Birds of Prey #1. This is a rebirth. Both Bensons write this. Basically, Babs gets the band back together, her and Dinah, because someone has taken the identity of Oracle. She was Oracle, um, and her quest intertwines with Huntress quest, and it gets pretty there. But other than that, yeah, this was okay. Batman #3. We get to see the origin of Gotham and Gotham Girl. Okay. We get to see, how, Bruce learns about them actually going under disguise as one of his own aliases, matches Malone, which was pretty funny. But this time he's posing that he's an FBI agent. He talks to Gotham and Gotham Girl's one moment. Uh, Gotham Girl and Gotham and Gotham Girl's parents. We find out they're brother and sister. They got really obsessed with Batman just to want to be just like him and things like that. Um, but their powers they're not as strong as they seem to be like, they have these powers, but there's a scene in here where Gotham is holding up a part of a bridge, and he barely is holding. He's like, I can't hold him much longer, Gotham Girl. Make sure everybody's off. And it's like, okay, so their powers seem to have a limit. We get to see I guess the main baddie in this. I'm not gonna ruin what that is. This was okay. Another, not bad. Finch's artwork. All right. Green Arrow #3. I've been fucking loving this. Um, Percy really did his thing on this. Pretty much, like I said, Ali has hit rock bottom, and it's almost like a quest for redemption. Um, it's who do you trust? What do you do? All these questions are answered, and it's kind of played up in this very well. Indeed, very much indeed. Green Lanterns #3. Ah, boy, this is starting to get really bad and really good, but bad at the same time for the duo. Who I should be calling them Riggs and Murtaugh, but um, excuse me. But the Red Lanterns make their play, and it's getting choppy. It's getting messy for Jess and and oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Simon, thank you. I'm almost forgetting his name, Simon. But there was something really cool in this. Simon does something in this that not even Hal Jordan could have done, and I was just like, that was badass. I'm not gonna ruin what it was, but it had my jaw like, good stuff. Justice League #1. Um, uh, this was all right. Nothing's fancy. There's havoc all over the world, and we're seeing the Justice League do the best they can to keep the innocent safe while they're dealing with all these catastrophic events. It seems like somebody's being controlled. They call the kindreds, things like that. Um, I thought it was interesting seeing this Wonder Woman riding a bolt of lightning. I was just like, okay. But it is what it is. I like that Cyborg is becoming is fanboying over Superman. It was what it is. And you talk about a book and that I've really been enjoying. I've been enjoying both of the titles that Superman involved in, and this one, Superman #3. Oh my God! First of all, that. I'm loving Superman as a father. I think I'm not the only one that uh, am like that. But we get to see what the Eradicator's plans are, what he's gonna do, what's his plans, what it's gonna do, and the shit starts hitting the fan really quick. There is a very heroic death sacrifice. I'm not gonna ruin what it was, but you get to see young Jonathan PO'd about it, and it's just like, oh boy. One other thing before I move on to the books that came out last week. About Aquaman. DC, Aquaman and Mira are just fiance now. They're engaged. They were married. So why are they now just no, this fiance? I don't get it. I really don't. Let's move on to the books that came out for last week, the 27th. We're gonna start DC this time. We're gonna start DC, Marvel, and end it with Indie. Action Comics number 960. Wonder Woman guest stars, still dealing with that motherfucker known as Doomsday. And it's getting real serious because remember, Doomsday can sense other Kryptonians, and he senses somebody very close to Clark. Um, I love the scene where Wonder Woman saves this Clark Kent, and she's confused about it. She even kind of questions if Superman is involved with it. Uh, but Lex Luthor is in this is looked like a dummy. You know, it's just like, yeah, whatever. I didn't really care. But it's just all that drama with Doomsday, as well as who's pulling the strings, and we don't really we see who it is, but we don't really get to see who it is. And I love the scene between um, Diana and Lois and Jonathan, and Diana, Lois. Basically, I know this maybe looks weird, me with Clark, and she's like, no, it doesn't. Diana even says, no, it doesn't. It seems perfect. And Lois goes and saying, on my world, me and Diana, the Wonder Woman of our world, she was my friend. And Diana says, pretty much, and it'll be no different on this world. And I was like, that's the Diana that I know and love. The one that would never be like, I think people was thinking, oh, she's gonna be really pissed off, like, you know, you choose her over me, blah blah blah. No, that's not Diana. And if they wrote her like that, I'd be pissed off. I'd be like, you motherfuckers, why you write her like that? She would never be like that. But the battle's still raging on between Doomsday and Superman, and now his fellow Justice League member, Wonder Woman. Shit's getting real. Thank you, Dan Jurgens. All right, let's move on to Batgirl #1. Yeah, I decided to give Batgirl another try, guys. Yes, I still hold Gail Simone's run and just Gail Simone and period at a high standard. I think she really knew that character. She loved that character. Um, Nobody, and I feel, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, guys. I feel that nobody touches her Batgirl run. I'm still not too crazy about the new costume, but this is a road trip now. Babs is on the road, and her first stop is she's in Japan, and she's there. She meets up with an old friend of hers, um, and of course, she's there to see if she can get an interview or talk to an old school vigilante who was protected the streets this city in Japan back in the 1940s. Her name was, believe it or not, yeah, it was Fruit Bat, and she was a badass. And Babs comes into contact with this kabuki schoolgirl assassin. Reminded me of Go-Go from Kill Bill, just with the, just without the kabuki makeup or geisha makeup, however you want to, I think, yeah. And it's crazy. You get to see this old woman. Babs does meet her, make this young assassin look like a lightweight, and pretty much is the gist of just Babs traveling. A good start. Good start. So thank you, Larson and Albert Albuquerque. Yeah, the artwork. Detective Comics number 937. Oh man, Tillian the Fourth. Boy, yeah. I tried not to ruin anything with that ending last week. I'm trying not to ruin anything here, but Batman comes face to face with the enemy. Uh, the team is at a dilemma. Do they fight? Do they quit? What do they do? And it gets real, which I loved. I'm not ruining anything with this. This was good. This was just damn good, in my opinion. Very good. And once again, it's good to see Batman look like the underdog, which I like. You know, next up, Hanna-Barbera's Future Quest number 3. First of all, that fucking cover is fucking beautiful. I took a picture, posted it on Facebook and my Instagram. Look at that cover. That is fucking beautiful. You got Birdman and Avenger. And it's kind of ironic because Parker, that's exactly what there's story broken up. There's two stories. The first one is all about Birdman. What I love about it the most is that we get to see Birdman not just as Birdman, but we get to see him as his alter ego, which I like, which is really good. And then the next story we get to see is all about Xandar, his family, and the Herculoids. And we get a backstory into Xandar and the Herculoids, which is really good. I was like, whoa. So that's why it was really good. I very much enjoyed it. Do yourself a favor. It is not too late. Get on Future Quest. Good shit. Flash number 3. Williams, and I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that the right artist name. I'll probably butcher it. But this is just once again, Barry now has taken on that role of being a mentor. All these new speedsters are coming out, and he has to deal with it. More importantly, since they all are tapping into the Speed Force, he's kind of slowing down now. People, you know, and some of the people they're not, they just want to try to live a normal life. So they come to Star Labs for help. Uh, but Flash does like the fact that his partner August, his friend, also who was kind of like his partner, is there. Uh, and the biggest gist of is that a certain villain makes his debut in this issue. I love the scene where you see the rogues like, all right, rogues, we're leaving. Looks like we won't be in Central City for a while because all this, all the speedsters. Hal Jordan and Green Lantern Corps number 1. First of all, um, Venditti. I still say Sinestro in this looks like Palpatine until and we get to see what the hell is what. Oh, Sinestro comes off like a bastard in this, in terms of what he is doing to preserve his powers. Hal is still looking for the rest of the Green Lantern Corps, things like that. And we get to see at the end the core is somewhat back. Nightwing #1. This was great. This was good. Seedley and Fernandez. This was great. I'm not gonna ruin anything. All I'm gonna say is uh, we get to see basically the new mentor for Dick at the end of this, and it was just like what he says to Dick. I I dare not repeat, but it does question. If you're a loyal Batman fan, it's gonna make you. Teen Titan, Titans #1. Abinant Booth does the artwork. It's still the team just really rejoicing over them being back together, but still trying to figure out more. We get a little bit more into Linda Park, things like that. Pretty much it. Mr. Roca. Oh my God. Wonder Woman #3. I got the Frank Cho cover. I thought it was brilliant. Cheetah. Diana. Wow. Wow. Let me say that again. Wow. Diana is still trying to find her way back to the mascara, things like that. But it's that drama between her and Cheetah that really sold this issue, and I loved it. There's some more into what's going on with Steve Trevor, and that was okay, but it's really the Cheetah and Diana. It's great. It's great stuff. All right, let's move on to the Marvel books. All new, all different Avengers #12. The team has to come together using the negative bands that once belonged to a certain Captain Marvel to defeat Nihilus. That's pretty much it. As well as still try to find some info on Sam's father. Black Panther #4. Mr. Coates, I can understand why this is Marvel's #1 selling book. Yes, Black Panther is Marvel's #1 selling book. This has been nothing but amazing. You talk about the weight of the world on T'Challa. I love how his mother broke down what T'Challa needs to do. I love it, and it was so good that I want to read a few passages of it. Everything else was good, but um I love when she's talking about, you want to be a better king to your people, do all this. She basically says, I love how she say, here's what his mother says. You feel the weight of the crown, but you have never felt the great honor of being a king. Your people are a burden to you, and you have never let them forget this. You say you have given all you have given all you have as king. And she says, you are wrong. You have never truly given yourself to your country. I read that, I slapped my book down, and I was like, oh my God. And it instantly started kicking back to me like Wait a minute. His mother is on to something. The Queen Mother is on something. Has T'Challa truly given himself to Wakanda? Think about it. If you really think about it, he hasn't. And I love that line. I thought it was brilliant. And there's some more shit that goes on in here. I'm not gonna ruin. It was just like, but war is coming, and it don't look good for anybody who brings the fight to Wakanda. Steve Rogers, Captain America, #3. Nick Spencer, Jesus Santos. Uh, what I will spoil is Jack Flag is alive. He's not dead. He's in critical condition, but he's alive. He's strong. He survived. He survived the fall. Um, I know it's all because of what the Skull did, but let me tell you something. It is still extremely hard, ladies and gentlemen, to see Steve go into some secret area, take ink or so, paint a motherfucking Hydra tattoo on his chest, and bow down to Red Skull in like a form of like uh, a a Star Wars where they're looking at holograms and things like that. I'm like, but it's still good. It's just like I can't wait to see your fucking prick Red Skull. You're gonna get yours. You are gonna get yours, and I'm gonna be there when you do get yours. When Steve busts that ass, pause. When he beats your head, caves your head in. Uh, Nonetheless, this was good. Civil War, #4. Oh my God. Where do I begin? How about Hawkeye is found pretty much not guilty. He walks free. You know that ain't gonna go well. People looking at the death of Bruce Banner as a mercy kill, as almost like good riddance. You feel bad for Bruce, the name of Bruce Banner. That sucked. Carol tells She-Hulk the news. Yes. As far as people that are like who are saying, yeah, Rhodey and She-Hulk dead, I knew right away. I was like, She-Hulk ain't dead. I've seen her take worse. She came out. Carol tells her what happened to her cousin. And all I'm going to say is, ladies and gentlemen, she looks pissed. And it makes me wonder what she's going to do come the end of this series or not. Uh, mm, mm, mm. This right here is starting to get really good. And it's starting to get juicy because the next issue, the lines have been drawn. Let's go. Extraordinary X-Men #12. All right. Basically, the team finds Apocalypse. They need to keep Apocalypse alive because he's, you know, and it was because Kurt nearly killed him. There's more to it than that. Wolverine is able, Jean was able to fight off uh, Venom symbiote Wolverine, but was Ileana able to save her brother? That's the question that I cannot and I will not. Tell you. Mighty Thor number 9. Aaron's. Oh my God. Um, there's a cool fight between Silver Samurai and Thor in this. What is the play for Roxton and Daryl? I could tell you, but then I have to kill you. Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur. Number 9. Amy Reeder and Monica Claire do a good job with this. First of all, big ups to Lunella. She is now the smartest person in the Marvel Universe. She beats out Tony Stark, Frank Cho, even Reed Richards himself. But it's still, Lupina's still trying to deal, she's dealing with this young Cree boy by the name of Melvar, and he's in disguise as a student at her school, and it's just going back and forth between them, like, because of his, he needs to capture a Inhuman and bring it back to, as a trophy because of his militant dad, things like that. And they just go back and forth with each other. It's so funny. And I love the ending of who gets involved. I thought that was smart. But yeah, Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur, number 9. All right, that's all the Marvel. Let's move on to the indie. I got 4 indie books, and we'll start off with Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Pink. Fletcher. This is 2 of 6. This was good. Um, it ended with Kimberly outgunned, outnumbered. She needs help, so she does go find help in the form of 2 of her former her former teammates, but friends, Zach and Trini. Um, is it enough? I'm not gonna ruin that, but I can't ruin any more of this. But it was good. This was good nonetheless. Let's move on to IDW. We have Action Man number 2. Barber and Villanelli do the artwork. Ian, who is the new Action Man, is still he's still learning the ropes, but he's not. He's kind of playing it differently. Instead of being a covert agent, he's breaking protocol, things like that, and some of his superiors are not liking it all the time. He's still trying to figure out if the real Action Man is still alive and where'd he go, things like that. Tracking Mr. X. That's pretty much it. And guys, if it feels like I'm kind of tired or so, that means I am. If you knew when I was filming this, what time it was, you understand. Still with IDW, TMNT number 60. Oh, not even gonna read it. I'm not even gonna spoil anything in it. All I'm gonna tell you, read it, like it. You're gonna love it. And last but not least, Xenoscope. We move on to Death Force number 3 of 6. Joe Bushuda. Um, okay, so Sean has come back with these powers that he got from the underground, the underworld, and even his old lover. He's doing this out of revenge because the entire police force, Philly police force that he's a part of, is corrupt, or are they? He teams up with a local hacker that has her own score to settle with the police, and that's pretty much it. I love the scene with his ex fiance. Her spirit telling him, like, why are you doing this? You know, why did you're basically selling your soul for revenge. Instead, you should let it go so we can be together and peaceful. That right there got me. Her spirit talking to him. She even shows him like, look at what you're becoming, things like that. But not bad. Oh boy. Well, guys, that is it. Um, the books that will be out for August. I'm ready. One more thing I need to tell you guys. It's very important. Um, it involves where you're going to find my reviews for 2 months. I'm trying something special and to get new subscribers and readers, new subscribers onto this channel. So I'm trying something new. Basically, for the month of August and September, my comic reviews will be on my main channel. I'll be leaving videos that will explain where you can find the comic review. So basically, um, basically, if this is episode 181, episode 82, let me see, make sure, 82, I think almost up to 190 plus will be on my main channel. So, but other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys tell me in the comment section, what did you get? What was your reactions to the comics that came out for the past 2 weeks? I'll see you guys next time. Remember, they won't be on this channel. Trying something new. They'll be on my main channel. But other than that, guys, this is Mount Vernon Kid saying peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real as always. Oh, shit. Ooh, okay. Get a little. You see the speed? You see the speed? You see the speed? No, you guys, you take care.